G'day guys, my name's Dean, or as most of you know me, Twisty, and it's time to get into round 20s wrap up. Now, I apologise for not having a video yesterday. As you can tell, I've kind of got a little bit of a lack of my voice, and pretty much yesterday it was really difficult for me to talk for longer than about a minute before sort of my voice would cut out. So you can put that down to yelling at the football on Friday night. And it's sort of carried over for the last 3 days of the weekend as well. But I'm going to do my best to get this done for you, so let's get stuck in with the ladder. Hawthorn sitting pretty on top for now. Only one game clear of Sydney, Adelaide, the Giants, and Geelong, who all have much superior percentage to the Hawks. So they can't afford to drop another game, or they could definitely miss out on that top 4 entirely. The Swans jumped into second after a big win over the Lions. The Giants dropped a couple of positions after only just scraping home against the Gold Coast. The Crows with a massive win jumping them into third, and the Cats getting a big win, but once again, another team that's dropped down even though they won by 10 goals. Moving on, Friday night, the reason I've got no voice, Richmond defeated Collingwood by 15 points. Jack Riewoldt kicked 4 goals. Tyrone Vickery kicked a couple as well. Mason Cox got a couple. James Aish kicked 2 as well in sort of a breakout game for him. Cloak kicked 1 as well. And Dustin Martin, in his 150th, had the 34 touches, kicked a goal as well. And Basher Hooley, the importance of Basher Hooley in that Richmond side is exponentially crazy, because he gets so much of the ball, and he's one of those half-back defenders that just pushes up the ground a lot. And I think that's what Richmond's sort of been missing. And the very first play of the game, Richmond do this very sort of chip the ball around. Very first play, Collingwood went inside 50. From the half-back line to Richmond's forward 50, it was handball, kick, mark, play on instantly. There was no sort of stagnant movement there, and I thought, gee, we're in for a good night. This is different. This is something new. So if Richmond play that sort of more attacking brand of football, you got guys like Hooley coming out that half-back line. You got Markov as well. When you get McIntosh, Ellis, and Yaron into the side, it's going to look a very different Richmond to the one we've seen this year. So hopefully next year they'll be able to continue this sort of trend. Sydney smashed Port Adelaide to the tune of 67 points. 14-16, 100 to 4-9, 33. Buddy kicked a couple as well as Heaney, Rowan, and I think Xavier Ellis kicked a couple as well there. Impey and Butcher and Cracker, 3 of the 4 goal kickers for Port Adelaide. I mean, oh boy. Yeah. Port, there just seemed to be little to no effort. I think Robbie Gray had 7 or 8 disposals, which is probably a career low for him. And that is something that is quite absurd to see from him, because he's such a star player of the game. And the other end of the spectrum, you had Parker, Hanbury, and Mitchell with, 100 disposals between the 3 of them. So very, very good work, the Swans. They are very much in that premiership hunt, and they will be pushing for that. They've got second spot at the moment. It's just whether they can hold it for the next couple of weeks. Now we move on to the big upset. Melbourne defeated Hawthorn. Everyone got pretty excited about this prospect when Melbourne kicked away in that final few moments. Ended up getting home by 29 points in the end. And Jack Watts, once again, the standout forward in that line. Cam Pedersen did a really good job as well, coming in for Jesse Hogan. Viney had the 39 touches. Gawn was once again Gawn, and just fantastic as well. And the Hawks, they had a little bit of mismatch with their goal kicking. Gunston 2-4. Rioli missed a shot as well. So they're a bit of a slow, I think it's come out this week, they're a bit of a slow team, and that, if you can get them with genuine pace and just quick movement of the ball, that's how you can beat Hawthorn. And I think the two sides probably that can do that better than anyone else will be the Giants and the Crows. I think Geelong's maybe up there as well, because they go through the corridor a lot with a little bit of quick ball movement. But the way the Giants run in ways, I think will really trouble Hawthorn in the finals if they do play against them. And same thing with the Adelaide Crows. Their run and overlap is just ridiculous. So they can challenge the Hawks in September. Whether they can do it on the MCG, it will be yet to be determined. So interesting game there. But really, really good win from Melbourne. I think that they're coming into next year primed, ready to have a big crack at the finals. I know this year, it was a good year for them, but it wasn't a great year. If it was a great year, they would have made the finals. But it's a good year. It's a much improved year from the last couple. So they'd be really excited about the prospects of 2017. The D's. The Gold Coast Suns, another team that is going to be really good next year. Sort of challenging at the end of this year. A couple of good sides. They only lost to 8 points to the Greater Western Sydney Giants. 13-6-84 to 14-8-92. Jeremy Cameron v Tom Lynch, sort of in the forward lines in the battle of the big keys. And I think that was sort of how this game went out. It was who can get it into their big tall forwards as often as possible. And in the end, the Giants just got it in one too many times to kick away by, the extra goal also. So that was a really good effort from the Greater Western Sydney Giants there, getting the win. Let's take a look at the Coleman Medal race. Josh Kennedy out in front, should have it wrapped up now. Kicked 7 goals this week to jump ahead of Franklin and Lynch by 6 goals, and then miles ahead of everyone else. So if Kennedy doesn't win it over the next couple of weeks, you'd feel like someone's going to kick a few bags in Franklin or Lynch. But the Coleman Medal looks to be Josh Kennedy's at the moment. Let's move on to Saturday night. Now, the Bulldogs and North Melbourne. A very low-scoring game. The Dogs getting home 9-7-61 to 7-5-47, which is almost a opposite of the first time they played. The Dogs... North Melbourne's winning score was 9-7-61, which is what the Dogs scored here. And the Dogs in that match scored 6 goals, 9-45. So only 2 points shy of that North Melbourne team. Only the 15 goals between them in that game, the 16 goals between them in this game. So when they play each other, it's, quite a low-scoring game. And I feel like that's probably a big flaw going into the final series, is both of these sides. They're sort of Fremantle types, or especially the Dogs. They're sort of a Fremantle type from last year. Very good defensively, not as strong offensively, and that's where you really need to get on top in those finals. Not one dominant forward within this match, and that's probably, set the tone for both these club seasons. Is they haven't really had, I guess North Melbourne had Jared Waite, but definitely, if he's not playing, they're in a bit of strife. And the same thing with Higgins. If North Melbourne get Waite and Higgins back for the finals, I think that they're a real chance to pull off an upset or a couple of upsets. But without those guys, I think they got absolutely no hope of making it past week 2 of the final series. On to the next game, you got the Crows and the Brisbane Lions. Oh boy, what a big win here. Walker, Betts and Lynch, 12 goals between them as well. Laird had 36, Crouch had 34, and Sloan 34 as well. So the Crows, they're just ticking along nicely. This win jumped them up about 7 or 8 percentage points into 3rd place at the moment. And that's definitely going to be one of those key things keeping them alive in that top 4 positions. I think they should have top 4 wrapped up at the moment. They've just got to make sure that they can just tick along. That's the thing. It's the percentage thing I said before. But Brisbane, where are you going, Brisbane? I doubt Lepich will be there next year, regardless of what happens over the next couple of weeks. But they just look lost. Brisbane, they look very, very lost, and it's quite sad, really, because they came in sort of last year and even this year. People had them not as a bottom 2 side, but sort of a bottom 6 team, and they had a pretty good midfield as well. So that midfield has just been pretty crap. No Dane Beams for 2 years really hurts, especially when you're paying him a ton of money. So that's their own mistake, and they'll learn from that in the future. But hopefully Brisbane can get somewhat back on track, because we can't have another team that is just going to flounder at the bottom forever. So that's kind of what we need here. On to the MCG on Sunday. We had Carlton and St Kilda. St Kilda, big winners, 71 points to sort of stamp their MCG credentials there. But whether or not they can get to the finals, that's the thing. Membry and Bruce kicked 9 goals between them. Bruce had one of the misses of the year as well throughout there. Shock and miss from just tried with a banana and hit the wrong side of the boot. So really poor effort there. But they got home in the end. Big win, St Kilda. You never know, they might upset the Swans this week. It's at Etihad Stadium. They could get it done. Geelong against the Bombers, another 130 something score, and they got this one done with just the 15 goals there. Bombers are so inaccurate this season. My God, 4 goals 10. I mean, seriously, like, what are you doing with yourselves? Yeah. They just got to create better opportunities. I think that'll come when you get the class back of Heppel and these types of players. They'll be much better for the run once you get those guys back in. And but yeah, the Bombers, they'll be better next year. Geelong, again, Dangerfield, pretty good. He's not a bad player. But yeah, they got the chocolates in the end there, the Cats, and a big win that they needed. And finally, we went to the Western Derby. Fremantle, pretty good for the first half. West Coast sort of kicked away in that second half. Kennedy ended up with 7 goals to sort of solidify that. Coleman almost. I know there's 3 games to go, so anything can happen, but I still feel like he's got it wrapped up at this stage, and the Eagles did what they needed to do. We look at the top 8 v top 8 at the moment, and it's pretty much like Geelong at the moment. They win the big games. Look at that, 8-2. Hawthorn 5-3. Sydney 5-4. The only one change to the ladder here was the Dogs went from 3-5 to 4-5, and North went to 2-6. So West Coast got 3 top 8 teams the last couple of rounds. North Melbourne got 3 top 8 teams the last couple of rounds. And we're going to really see their credentials then. If if West Coast 1-8 against top 8 sides going into the final series, I doubt to see where they're winning a final. Same thing with North Melbourne. If they're 2-9 against top 8 teams going into the final series, they might not even be in the final series if they're 2-9. So it is one hell of a scenario, and they just keep getting the job done, don't they? But that is it for this week's wrap up. Thank you for watching. Hopefully my voice wasn't too shocking for you guys, and you could actually hear what I was trying to say. So thanks so much for watching. Leave a big thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.